Good evening, Gearheads, on a Sunday, January 15th, 2023. I'm Alan Bailey. We're live on YouTube tonight. The live chat over there is open. I know we are a little bit late. We're almost half an hour late, actually, and I do apologize for that. Yeah, new hair, new me. New year, new me. Everything's red now, literally. My bathtub, my nails. No, I'm kidding. I mean, not about the bathtub part, but yeah, I got my hair did today. If you guys follow me on my social media accounts at Hey Alan Bailey, you know that happened. But in the world of motorsports, before I get so rude here, Kyle Larson's running the Indy 500, except in 2024. Audio from just last month that I have from when I talked to him about the LA Coliseum. I specifically asked him about this issue, and he talked about it and his feelings. That's why, if you're a follower of this program, it's not really news he's going at it for 2024. You'll have to listen to it to judge for yourself. Kevin Harvick is calling it a career. We kind of knew that this was coming. I mean, he said on the Dale Jr. download that, yeah, he's out. He's not going to be coming back after this next season potentially, because that's what his current contract was, and he said he's done after his current contract. We'll get into that. We'll get into everything that Kevin Harvick has done throughout his entire career and why he low-key actually lived up to Dale Earnhardt Sr.'s legacy way back when he was a rookie. We're going to talk about that, and I know that's controversial, and I know you older NASCAR fans are going to get at me for that, but I'm just saying Kevin Harvick lived up to the Dale Earnhardt Sr. hype. In hindsight, I know, we're going to fight about it. Petty GMS has become Legacy Motor Club. Going to talk about that tonight on the program. Leave your questions, your comments leave anything you want to say in the comments, because the comments are live. I know we've had like none of them. Sorry, I'm getting used to my new setup, but we haven't had that many come in yet. We've had none come in yet. So where you're listening from tonight, let us know live. But Petty GMS has become Legacy Motor Club with Jimmy Johnson and Richard Petty, partial owners of that one. And we're going to talk about Jimmy coming back. Is it a good idea? Is it a bad idea? Karts Tour has new owners with Dale Earnhardt Jr., Kevin Harvick, Jeff Burton, and Justin Marks. We're going to talk about that and why that might be bad for NASCAR. Yes, I'm serious when I say that. Andretti Autosport, what's the holdup with F1? And are they perhaps coming into NASCAR sometime in the near future, perhaps with new manufacturing? We're going to talk about it. Frankie Muniz, Malcolm from Malcolm in the Middle, is going full-time racing in the ARCA series. Is he the next Paul Newman? We're going to talk about that. You have Anthony Alfredo on the move to BJ Motorsports. I'm BJ McLeod Motorsports, but still. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about all the paint schemes that came out, and of course, Dale Jr. running the Bristol Xfinity race. We will talk about that. And oh yeah, outside the world of NASCAR, you got Supercross canceling. You have Supercross canceling their race that was scheduled for last night due to rain. I'm in California. I'm legitimately concerned about losing power. Like, I took a chance doing this live. I hope it's not going to be a huge mistake, but I feel like it might have been. We're going to talk about everything that's happening in California and why this was a really good decision and why the change that they made might be really stupid, but probably the best available option to them. In the F1 world, we're going to talk about, some drama that's happening. We'll get into it. The thing that we're also going to talk about tonight on the program that wasn't on my rundown list for the longest time, the fact that Motorsport Games is once again going under, slowly but surely. More evidence has come forward. We will talk about it. We've got the 2023 testing schedule that we're going to go through, for the NASCAR testing schedule that we're going to go through. Wiz Khalifa is performing the NASCAR Busch Light Clash halftime show, if that's what you want to call it, and why this is a great move for the future of NASCAR and why the older generation absolutely despise this. I think it's a great move. We're going to talk about it a little bit more. You got Travis Pastrana entering the Daytona 500 with 23:11. We're going to talk about that. Dakar wrapped up. Going to talk about that a little bit. Oh, yeah, the Chili Bowl happened. We're going to talk about that, including the scary incident that saw a 15-year-old get thrown from the race vehicle. Yeah. We're going to go ahead and talk about all of that. So go ahead, leave your questions in your comments. I do see we have a couple people watching live. The thing that I want to get into, because I know that this is where most people are going to want to go with this conversation tonight, let's actually take a beat here and talk about Kevin Harvick, because you look at Harvick's entire career, he's a guy that honestly rose to that occasion. I mean, he got into the sport in one of the hardest times. You had the death of Dale Earnhardt Sr. The entire NASCAR world was shocked, and the fact that less than a few days later, you had a white 29 at the track with this kid. I mean, you look at Richard's reaction here. It's honestly, this was all still so raw for us. And the fact that you saw Kevin Harvick, this kid, this rookie hotshot that was supposed to get some part-time work in the 30 AOL car, come on in and do this, it was unheard of at the time. And frankly, it upset a lot of people. And you could see he figured out a way to rise to that occasion, because he honestly went out there and had one heck of a career. Shifting gears, number 151, we talked about everything that Kevin Harvick's done throughout his entire career. He's won the Daytona 500. He's won the Brickyard 3 times. He's won the championship. He's won the Southern 500. He's won the Coke 600. I mean, this guy has literally done everything in the crown jewel of the NASCAR sphere that you can do. Right here, with win number 49 on his career, he ties Tony Stewart for the most NASCAR wins in the Cup Series of all time. That was huge for him, because him and Tony are buddies. And to accomplish that was massive for Kevin at the time. You gotta just hand it to this guy for really not only continuing to win those big benchmark races, but to continue to pile on one after another. Look at his 4th win ever. I argue this was the moment when we saw Kevin Harvick be Kevin Harvick. He kind of broke out of senior shadow and kind of did his own thing. After the first few, it was like, okay, he isn't senior. Cool. Michael Turner in the chat. Kevin Harvick is retiring after the 2023 season. He is 47 years old. He should retire after this. Yeah, he is retiring. Michael, thank you for the comment. He's retiring from full-time competition, but Kevin has said it himself in videos released by Kevin and Stuart Haas that he doesn't want to unretire. You see Jimmy Johnson unretiring this year. We saw even Jeff Gordon unretire to fill in for a few races. So you have that unretired factor going. Kevin wants to sincerely ride off into the sunset and be done with it. I think he's done with Cup racing. I think he's over it, to be honest with you. Yes, he's a racer. Yes, he still has fun. And I think he wants a shot to go out there and win a couple more races. But I think that him winning those 2 races in 2022 definitely told him, hey, I can, in fact, win in other equipment, and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to try, because you get that from him. You really do. He's a guy who you really want in the car in the long run, because look at what he accomplished. He was winning basically from day to, I mean, the whole time. He honestly was competing. He was right there near the front every single season of his career for the most part. I mean, this right here, one of my favorite NASCAR Cup races I've ever attended in person, because for the last 15 laps, you can see Kevin coming. He was knocking a 10th off, 2/10 off, oh my gosh, half a second. Whoa. He came from like 4 or 5 seconds back, and he closed that gap just by finding a different line and trying something different. And he was flat out quicker than Jimmy. That was a cool race, because you get that last lap pass. You get that build up. That NASCAR honestly tries. They beg to create that every single race, and you just won't get it every single race. And the fact that we got it with Kevin Harvick right there at Auto Club in 2010, I want to say that was phenomenal. I remember interviewing him in Victory Lane after. What was it like for you? And he was like, it's just like a dog with a bone. It's like, it's within my grasp. And he couldn't not get that victory. It was phenomenal. I mean, taking Tony Stewart back to victory lane at the Brickyard twice in his cars, that's pretty darn cool. Right here, winning the Southern 500. Harvick just knew how to get it done, man. And the fact that he was thrown into that position, into the 3 car, it's not how he wanted to get there. I think he hated early on the comparisons to Senior in his, interviews and stuff. I definitely get that vibe from him. But, this right here, this was number 3 on the list. It had to be number 3 on the list because look at that. That's insane. Harvick barely was able to get it done in the 3rd race in that car. It had to be number 3. It had to be. It just had to be. If I've ever seen Senior Mojo working at play, it's that right there. Where in the 3rd race without him, he was like, here, NASCAR world, I'm good. Keep going. That's what NASCAR Nation needed at the time, and that's what Kevin Harvick did. I mean, you honestly look at this. This is incredible. He showed us so early on in his career that he was a methodical driver, that he knew when to go and know when to calm down, and the closer right there, getting it done. Mr. Where did he come from was the saying for, and look at him right here, winning his Daytona 500 in 2007. Y'all hated that. I hated that at the time. I absolutely despised the fact that NASCAR did that because I wanted to see Mark Martin get a NASCAR win in the Daytona 500. Was that so much to ask throughout his entire career? I mean, come on, Mark. Mark was with Roush for way too long and it ruined his career. Mark and Jack both have said this, that Mark would have gone on to win 4 or 5 championships easily had he not been with Jack frickin' Roush his entire career. So I'm just saying, we wanted to see him win that race in that car, not Jack's car, but rage. But, I mean, winning his championship obviously was right there. He won that race, too, and the championship. And he held off Ryan Newman, who almost broke the chase system that year because he showed, you don't need to win a race in order to win the championship. And then Daniel Hemrick did it, and cat's out of the bag. Oops. But look at Newman right here, just stalking him. Stalking the guy that was going to be his teammate. But, I mean, come on. The guy that... It had to come down to that, right? It had to come down to that really, really, really close battle right there for them, man. It is what it is. I'm blown away. Now, I want to talk about everything that's happening with the virtual Le Mans. If you're unaware, Motorsport Games with the R Factor 2 game, a game that came out 10 years ago, and a mod for Le Mans, put on the 24 Hours of Le Mans. It was supposed to be this big virtual thing. You had a lot of real-world drivers in it, notably Max Verstappen, the defending Formula One world champion. Yeah, that Max Verstappen. And honestly, trying to be as polite and civil as I can while remembering I'm on the air. Max Verstappen came out against this event, said that he's never going to do it again. Never going to do it again. Yes, Michael Turner in the chat, Matt Crafton proved you can win the championship in this format without a win. Absolutely right. He did it in the Truck Series as well. I forget the year off the top of my head, but you're absolutely right. And I think that's why NASCAR went to the, playoff format that we see now. I'm hoping that we get away from that personally. I'd like to see, frankly, old school chat or chase / playoffs, I guess, where after with 10 races to go, we reset. Everybody gets a reset. No stages. No round of 8, round of 12, round of this, round of that. In my opinion, the playoff system should be not 10 races, 5 races, and even 5 seems a bit long. I like what Supercross is doing with 3. That might be the way to go, but to me, 5 races. With no, winning, no, round of 2, round of this, round of that. No. Just old school 5 races straight up. But I like what Supercross is doing. Double the points after every race. Dead serious. So if the leading championship driver can get 10 points in race number 1, in race number 2, 20. In race number 3, 40. Yeah. See where I'm going with this? I'm just saying it would, and do that throughout the entire 5-race playoff system. It would honestly create a phenomenal playoff run. I think it's going to, I'm hoping, everybody's hoping, it's going to create a very intense playoff battle with Supercross in 2023. They're experimenting with this for the first time. But essentially, they're taking the top 20 riders in Supercross and in Motocross, the indoor stuff and the outdoor stuff, 31 races in total, and they're adding 3 races at the very end so that these 3 are essentially rounds where they double the points. So if you have a bad race 1, if you win race 3, you should be good. So it creates a different type of playoff system that I like. The fact it's only going to be over 3 weeks and not over 2.5 months, NASCAR. So I'm really excited to shore up the playoffs. And in my head, if we do the NASCAR schedule like we should start right around the time the Super Bowl is wrapping up, either or. Maybe NASCAR race the weekend before the Super Bowl. I'm just saying the big game, because you can get all that build up, and then where does the audience go? They have nothing to do for a week before the big game. Why wait until the big game? Jump on that bandwagon until people start referring to the big game as the big race, NASCAR. I'm just saying. But start around the Super Bowl time and go right until football starts again, whenever that is. Seriously, NASCAR, work with the NFL, come up with where your schedules start and end, come to an agreement one way or another, and there you go. That way the football audience can watch the NASCAR stuff and doesn't have to choose between one or the other. Because how great would it be to just watch NASCAR all season long, enjoy it for what it is, and then as soon as NASCAR's done, to help fill the void of not knowing what to watch on Sunday, you get to watch football. And as soon as football's done and you've enjoyed the heck out of that, NASCAR starts again. How great is that consistency in our lives? I'm just saying we're essentially doing that now. Just NASCAR needs to jump on board and, come up with that exact weekend so we're all good. But hopefully it'll work. I don't see why NASCAR and the NFL wouldn't want to work together instead of against each other. Why? Because when you work together, the fans are ultimately going to win, so let the fans win. But we'll have to wait and see. Back to motorsport games. Max Verstappen comes out slamming the virtual Le Mans organizers after there were server issues that forced him to quit. Let's actually take a look at this. 15 days into the new year, we're already in the middle of this, where the organizers at one point during the 24 hours red flagged the race. Why? 2 servers being used for the event were targeted by a security breach. Meanwhile, the drivers were already disconnecting due to the server's instability, and it essentially kicked out a bunch of people, including the defending F1 world champion, Max Verstappen. So Max was rejoining a lap and a half down, marked back to 17th after running with the leaders. I mean, if you do this to some random Joe for some random server race, it's pretty bad. But you do this on your benchmark event that literally 90% of your company is based around this lie, then maybe that's not the greatest thing ever, Motorsport Games. There's a lot of problems happening with this company right now, but it basically stems down to the fact that multiple employees have come out against Motorsport Games, who are currently with them, mind you. Apparently, the work environment is extraordinarily hostile, and it's not a good situation. I don't know how else to put it. But I mean, to be clear, at no point in the 24 hours of Le Mans were the servers attacked. The red flag that actually happened was due to the sharing of IP addresses within the game itself. So basically, it was a coding error that caused these issues. Michael Turner, I can't blame Max Verstappen for slamming Motorsport Games. Even Max Verstappen knows exactly. I have his full quote right here. And I will put this, actually, what I might be able to do. Hang on one second. Gonna do it this way. Okay, here we go. Here is Max Verstappen's quote. I'm going to read it because I realize that that is very tiny. It's even tiny for me. It reads, so I'm going to write this once. It might get deleted, but who cares? After 5 months of prep to fight for a title, around 2 months of prep for Le Mans, this is what we get. This is a disgrace for the sim racing community and all big brands and drivers involved. Big stutter all race, 2 red flags due to attacks, you say, but then again, people disconnecting. Some get their laps back, some don't. Because of this stupid 4-car rule, how can you rely on rules when you can't even control your own bleep server? This is not the first time we do this. We've literally been disconnected 3 out of 4 events. You might think that after the first or second time you'd learn, but this is a disaster. The Le Mans organizers should really look at what they want moving forward, because doing it on this platform is just a clown show. I'm never competing again, and that's all down to your incompetency. I hope many people will follow my lead and we can build something nice somewhere else, because all of us teams, brands, and drivers deserve it. Unquote. That was from Max Verstappen not too long ago on the state of not only the 24 Hours of Le Mans actual event, which was a disaster. I don't feel like talking about the winners on here because I don't feel like anybody rightfully won that race, because I don't feel like that race was adequately run at all. I would feel the same if it were a washout, rainout situation. Motorsport Games doesn't know. Let me rephrase. The company itself might actually be fine. Might be fine. I know that there are a significant amount of people, programmers, people who work in that company who do care deeply about these games and do have a deep passion for creating good games. However, the leadership. We said leadership. Multiple, because we didn't want to pin it on anybody else, but we can literally pin it on one person who has been at Motorsport Games the entire time, who's made every decision at Motorsports Games the entire time, and that is Dmitry Koskov. He is the guy who apparently, according to reports from others, actually had multiple companies in the past that he was involved with where he got rich very quickly and the company eventually filed for bankruptcy. And it appears he has brought that business scheme, that financial scheme, over to Motorsport Games when he created Motorsport Games with Motorsport Network. Again, Motorsport Network, as far as I know, are filled with great people who put on a great product. I don't have anything against them. I think that this off-brand and this person that they have trusted is a scam artist. I truly believe that, because he's a guy who went in there, put unrealistic demands on his staff, cut budgets left and right. He rushed a product to market that was nowhere near ready, that he didn't own up to, not for the longest time. It took them about 6 months to actually publicly admit that they did not produce a good product. And then a few months after that, he started joking about their failures, specifically his failures, to the board and to everybody else in public forums. All while giving himself a 631% bonus at the tail end of at the beginning, I should say, of 2022. What does that translate to in monetary dollars? It's about $5.6 million bonus that he gave himself because he believed he did a good job with NASCAR 21 Ignition. That's a scam artist. He should give every single penny of that bonus back to the employees, because reportedly employees with their Russia office, again, this is a global business, not just here in the United States, their Russian office apparently were told, we're eliminating this office. you can move to the United States at your own cost with no pay increase and continue to do your job in another country. Or you can accept the fact that we're firing you. Those were the options that these poor programmers were presented with. And that's true. According to the employees, they were not offered any kind of compensatory benefits for moving their entire life to the other side of the world. Motorsport Games literally said, you pick up the cost on that. Then when they came to the United States, you would think Motorsport Games might, I don't know, treat them a little bit better, might give them a little bit of something for actually committing to this and doing it. No. Instead, they simply haven't been paid since October of 2022. October, November, December, the holiday season, no money, and now January. 4 months for most employees at Motorsport Games for 4 months. Meanwhile, this guy is literally rolling in his $5 million bonus. I get tagged on things by you guys, and thank you for that, on Twitter all day, of new reports and new quotes, and there's a lot of information coming out, and it's all painting the picture that Dmitry Koskov is not a good guy, that he is a tyrant to work for, and if you do not agree with him, you will be fired. And because of that, they created a game that was nowhere near ready with NASCAR 21 Ignition. And let's go back to the very beginning. They technically released NASCAR Heat 5, but what was NASCAR Heat 5? It was literally a copy-paste of NASCAR Heat 4, except it had bugs and glitches and this and that and this and that. And at the time, they said, it's because it's not our game. We inherited it. We don't know the code. We did the best we could. And that is true. They inherited NASCAR Heat 4 and NASCAR Heat 5 mid-development. Not much was accomplished with it, so they had to copy and paste more or less in order to make it work. And even then, we all said, that's fine. We understand the circumstances. We know you're working on something great for 2021 with NASCAR Ignition. Then it came out, and it's very apparent that this company simply does not know how to program games. It's very clear that they've hired non-motorsport fans as programmers to create games that they just simply don't have the expertise in. Not saying they're bad programmers, not saying that they're not good at their job, simply saying they're working on a project that they don't care about or have knowledge about. Therefore, they can only ever put out an inferior product. Let them go do what they want to do in other gaming areas and hire actual passionate, knowledgeable programmers that know motorsports at the very least, NASCAR at a minimum. And honestly, I don't think that that's going to happen. Motorsport Games has proved time and time again that they do not care. They made a bunch of promises at the tail end of 2022, and it didn't come true. Namely, the NASCAR Heat 5 2022 update. At first, it was going to be free. Then it was going to be charged. Then they cut the price. Then they said it's still coming out. We promise. It's now 2023. We have not seen that update come out. We're being told, at least sources within the company, nothing is confirmed yet, but we're hearing that is going to be canceled altogether and that it's not coming out and that they're hoping the community literally forgets about it. And honestly, we will. We're going to forget about it. It's going to just be, oh yes, another broken promise, because that's what it is. Another broken promise from Motorsport Games and Dmitry Koskov, period. I honestly just don't think vlogs and gaming with Tommy, I think NASCAR games are not going to be made after 2023, 2024. I agree with you, not from this company. I said this in a tweet earlier tonight, and this is maybe where you're getting it. Honestly, best case scenario, because everybody's saying, oh, the rights need to go to somebody else. iRacing, take this over. Even if, that's a big even if Motorsport Games drags their feet throughout all of 2023, realistically, all they have to do is release NASCAR Rivals 2 on the Switch. They could do this. This is a path for Motorsport Games to survive and literally go muhahaha as they try to con not even NASCAR, but the fans out of more money and hold on to the NASCAR rights for just a little bit longer. And this is probably what's going to happen. And Dmitry Koskov, if you get this idea from this live show, you're a bigger idiot than the idiot from the movie Glass Onions. And that was a really big idiot. But then again, you are an idiot, so enjoy this idea, idiot. Even if they greedily decide to release NASCAR Rivals 2 on the Nintendo Switch, that could literally just be a paint scheme roster update with name changes. That's all it could be, and that's all it will be. Because when Motorsport Games releases this game in 2023 and calls it their one new game, because contractually they have to produce one new NASCAR game on console, not consoles, plural, console, at least once per calendar year for every year that they have the contract. They have the contract for the next 10 years. I'm being told either 9 or 10 depending on what happens towards the end of the contract with other release titles and things. Again, that's stuff that we're 100% not aware of. So it's either 9 or 10 years at best is how long this company has the actual rights to this NASCAR game, the NASCAR game, the exclusive rights. So because of that, if they release a game in 2023 at all, at any point in 2023, then they own the rights for another year, and it continues to go on. But if for some reason they don't, please, dear God, don't let them release a game in 2023, then ultimately the rights at a certain point in 2024 revert back to its original owner, NASCAR, where NASCAR can sell those rights to other developers, plural, or one throughout an exclusive deal. We're not sure yet. NASCAR wants these rights back. They do. They want to go to another gaming developer. They love what's happening with iRacing, but not what's happening with Motorsport Games. You go to a NASCAR race, it's an iRacing simulator that's happening on the iRacing rigs, not here's Motorsport Games and NASCAR 21 Ignition. Notice that. That's clue number one. The other big one is that at best, it's going to take 2 years, 2 full years, 24 months to realistically develop a semi-playable NASCAR game from the ground up, which all other gaming developers would have to do. There's no, I'll buy this and put out a copy-paste game. They'd have to develop it from scratch. And even if iRacing decides, yes, we want to do that through Monster Games, which is likely what would happen, then they're going to need at least 2 years to develop a semi-playable game, and it's not going to be a great game. It'll be average at best, because it takes a lot of time to really develop great games, and that's what iRacing wants to do, but they can't until they get those rights. So at best, we're looking at a game coming out somewhere around 2026, 2027, give or take. Vlogs in Gaming with Tommy. True, they need to release NASCAR Rivals on different consoles. They won't, because they already have. NASCAR Rivals is literally a copy-paste of the NASCAR Heat series. That's all it is. Literally, the only original game that Motorsport Games has put out is NASCAR 21 Ignition, and that's a huge failure. So they literally have gone back to the game that was already developed when it was handed to them, and they've just kind of copied and pasted and changed rosters around and made fonts a little bit bigger and things like that in order to make it appear like it's a brand new game, but it's not. It's the exact same game that they inherited with NASCAR Heat 4. We've basically been playing NASCAR Heat 4 since 2018, unless you bought NASCAR 21 Ignition, which I know you didn't because I saw the reviews for it. Nobody bought that game. Rightfully so. Michael Turner in the chat, I predict that Motorsport Games isn't going to survive after 2023, have them contracted through 2029. Yeah, Michael, you're right. I personally am amazed that they haven't announced that they're bankrupt, because they're right there. Supposedly they lost something like $12 million last month or something to that effect in December 2022, which means with less than $3 million cash on hand, they're probably already dead. It's the 15th of January. I don't see how they'll make this budget right here, because they have to have paid their employees at this point. It's been 2 weeks. So the payment to the employees should have gone through yesterday or today, and I'm willing to bet it did. because they only have 3 mil. Or it only went through to some. If they went alphabetical, sucks to be you. Anybody who starts with an last name starts with an M on back. How do you do that if you're Motorsport Games? I truly think that we're going to get that announcement within the next few days here, because financially it makes sense. They wouldn't have had the money to actually make their budget for the first 2 weeks if those reports are true. Meaning, Monday's in a few hours here. Banks are closed on a Monday. Funny how that date worked out here in the United States. But come Tuesday morning, Motorsport Games employees haven't been paid. They're bankrupt. They gotta be, right? There's no way they survive the rest of this month, right? There's no way. Even if everyone you know goes out and buys NASCAR Rivals tonight on Nintendo Switch, it's not going to be enough. And Motorsport Games themselves were complaining in a budgetary meeting that they don't like the game because it costs a little extra to actually make those little cartridges. If it's a disc, it's actually pretty easy. But the little cartridge that Nintendo uses, that costs money. A lot of money. It actually means that they're losing money. So every time you buy a physical copy of NASCAR Rivals for the Nintendo Switch, it's costing the company severe money. I went out and bought one because it was on sale. And because I knew I inevitably was going to hurt Motorsport Games. Yes, I did that. Coming to the channel at some point. Vlogs and gaming with Tommy in the chat. I don't think that Motorsport Games is going to be able to make another game because of the quality of NASCAR 21 Ignition and how bad that went for the last 2 heats. I agree with you. The latest report that we got on Friday was that the game itself, and I'll try to find that actually real quick. The latest report we got was that the game was at least a few months behind in development and nowhere near ready. I, again, can't confirm that. Don't know if it's true. But if it is, oh my goodness. Like, that's the only thing I can really say. I know that report came out at some point. I think it was Friday. So we're looking for it right now. A producer's needed, by the way, for this show at some point. At least for when we do the live stuff. I might have to see if my wife wants to have a job in YouTubing. I'm looking for that report because I know it came out. I do. I just haven't been able to find it because I think it's been... Where is that report? I know it came out at some point here. And I guess here's a look at further evidence of the financial hardship, let's just say at this point, of Motorsport Games. That should be decent sized right there. So here's the 2022 cost analysis. So, yeah. I mean, sales and marketing lost them $1.4 million. 2.63 mil went to the gaming development. At least, no, that's not even their biggest budget. General and administration, 4 mil. So maybe some directors should maybe take a pay cut. Just saying. Best NASCAR gaming, in my opinion, is still NR 2003. You're not wrong, Vlogs and Gaming with Tommy. That's stuff that is at some point going to come to the channel, I think. But I have so much going on with iRacing, with me gearing up for the 2023 season at my track, with me going out to some races for ARN and for the channel. I haven't had time to really work on my NR 2003 folder. Because to be clear, and Vlogs with Gaming and Tommy can probably back this up as well, NR 2003 is wonderful because it is so old. It is free, so you can Google it, download it, and put it on your computer tonight legally, and everything's good, according to my lawyer. And you can actually put in multiple series, multiple paint schemes. Essentially, every paint scheme you see in NASCAR, or frankly, in any form of motorsports, is available in NR 2003. Michael Turner, Motorsport Games is losing money on Nintendo Switch. I knew I got NASCAR Rivals. Motorsport Games loses even more money. Yes, that's exactly what I just said, Michael, because I'm right there. I knew that they were losing money on it, and frankly, I wanted what will more than likely be a copy of one of the last NASCAR games that we see on the market. And I don't mean that this is the end for NASCAR gaming. I mean, we're not going to get a presumably game in 2023. We're not getting a game in 2024. At earliest, late 2025, early 2026. I mean, 3-ish years until we get another NASCAR game at best. At best. So, and I don't know. Maybe iRacing and Monster Games are actually secretly working on a NASCAR game right now. I haven't heard that in a report. I am not making that up. I am purely speculating. Here I am with speculation. Speculation. What if they are? I hope that they are. I would love to see a game come out sooner rather than later from them. But with these numbers at Motorsport Games, something tells me they're going to find a way to limp along just until the actual new NASCAR game comes out. I have a feeling. Vlogs with Gaming and Tommy, I wish I had the Switch so I could play NASCAR Rivals. I'm stuck with Heat and Ignition. Let me tell you, bud, I have played NASCAR Rivals a little bit. Maybe like 4 or 5 races, if that. It's the same. It plays exactly like Heat. Exactly like Heat. The only thing that's changed, is that you have these new car models that glitch a little bit. They feel exactly the same. They set up exactly the same. The animations are almost exactly the same. Just the paint and the model on the car itself looks different. It handles the same. It's the same. It's different sounds and a little bit different audio, but not much. But I know what you really want. You want the updated roster, right? I did. That was my yes, I want the updated roster. And then I got it. And then I thought, bad, because it wasn't good. It played like a worst version of NASCAR Heat. I'm actually playing NASCAR Heat on the channel. I recorded an episode. It's going up tomorrow on the channel because I asked you guys in a chat, what do we want to put up? What gaming series do we want to put up? A NASCAR Heat reboot, a NASCAR Rivals, or more iRacing? And overwhelmingly, over half voted for NASCAR Heat. I was actually okay with that because that game, compared to 21, is significantly easier to play. I almost put 21 Ignition 2022 update in there, but I've seen nothing but problems, the exact same problems with it, and I don't want to go back. I did 2 full career mode seasons in NASCAR 21 Ignition, and I hated every single race. I hated every single video. I wasn't having fun. I came up with excuses not to do it, yet I did it because you guys watched it, and I hated it. I really did. If y'all want me to go back, I'll go back into those trenches. I will go into those trenches with y'all, but you better be watching those videos. You better be clicking that subscribe button, because that was torture, y'all. That honestly felt like my own little personal hell. I'm not joking. I'm not exaggerating. I absolutely hated going on those races. I truly did. They were the worst ever. I hated them so much. You're never going to change my mind on that. I don't care. 21 vlogs with Gaming and Tommy. NASCAR 21 Ignition sucked. I would slow down the start. Yeah, NASCAR Heat 5 is much better than Ignition. Michael Turner in the chat. I agree with you guys. Both of you guys. You got it right. Because honestly, NASCAR Heat 5 is significantly better. The wheel itself, I get to use it. I can actually calibrate the wheel in-game, which is something that NASCAR 21 Ignition doesn't have. I have to hack the game code and mod the game in order to get my steering wheel to work. And even then, it's not calibrated properly, and it doesn't work right. Even after modding, I can't get my wheel to work. Are you kidding me? Really? Motorsport Games? Really? In my opinion, Motorsport Games sincerely needs to refund every single person who bought NASCAR 21 Ignition for any system ever spent a penny on that awful game, Motorsport Games needs to send us a free game, free better version of it, or give us our money back. They won't. They've taken the money and, well, Dmitry Koskov has taken the money and run, but good for him. Yeah, sure. He's in the Bahamas with his cars, but you know what? If I'm an employee of Motorsport Games, I am coming directly after him. Your CEO is the one who stole the money out of the company account, gave it to himself, and left absolutely nothing for you and your families through the holiday season. That is horrendous. This guy is just a pit stain of humanity. He isn't even human anymore, I don't think. He's awful. I just, you got to pray for the guy because, my gosh, Heat 5 is better by 1,000%. Yes, I agree. Vlogs and gaming with Tommy. You got to shore that up, man. That's a long one. But yeah, I absolutely agree. It is extremely better. I don't know why it's not updating on my screen, but I saw the comment come in, vlogs and gaming with Tommy. I'm skipping over it. There it goes. It's very slow tonight. I don't know why. I'm going to look into that. But yeah, let's get into some more interesting news. We have the 2023 NASCAR testing schedule that came out. So we know that they're going to COTA actually tomorrow, Monday and Tuesday of this week, for the Goodyear tire test with the 2, the 8, the 23, which is very interesting because it's actually Tyler Reddick who's going to be in the 23. You have Austin Cindric in the 2, and you have Kyle Busch in the 8. From each organization for the road course package. January 24th and 25th, NASCAR will be at Phoenix with the 1, the 6, the 20, the 22, the 43, and the 47. So Chastain, Keselowski, Bell, defending champ Logano. You have the 43 with Eric Jones, and you have the 47 with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. I'm sorry. January 30th, they're going to be at Charlotte for the Xfinity test. 1 car for each 1 to 2 car team, 2 cars for each 3 to 4 car organization. That testing list is not out yet. That full one anyway, just those parameters, I should say. January 23rd, Goodyear truck test at Lancaster and North Wilkesboro. On March 20th, Goodyear tire test. NASCAR Cup cars are going to be testing at North Wilkesboro on March 21st and 22nd. So let me see if I could zoom in. Just correcting it, making it a little easier to read. Okay. Here we are. Yeah, so you could see the testing points right there on the screen. Yeah, so Cup cars are going to be testing at North Wilkesboro, Charlotte, Gateway, Michigan, Bristol, Texas, Indianapolis, a tentative one in August. So here's kind of the testing schedule for the foreseeable future for NASCAR. So it does, honestly, they're learning for speed. So those are really the cars right there that are maybe going to have a little bit of an advantage on the road courses. Austin Cindric kind of knows what he's doing. Tyler Reddick is a defending winner. So those guys were honestly already going to be kind of ahead of the 8 ball for the road courses, but because they're testing with the Goodyear tire, they're definitely going to be ahead of the 8 ball a little bit. And more than likely what happened was they said, hey, NASCAR went to them and said, hey, we want a car from your organization, and your organization. Come here and pick these 3 organizations. And they offered who they thought would be best for the test. And they are. You look at the 2 car, Austin Cindric arguably is one of the best road course racers in the field right now. He should be at that test learning what he can learn. Kyle Busch or, the 3 car. Well, obviously Busch is a little bit better on the road courses than Austin is, so that makes sense. And Tyler Reddick just won a Cup race on a road course, and Bubba himself said he sucks at the road courses. send him. So very, very smart idea right there for the Goodyear tire tests. Vlogs and gaming with Tommy. I think it's just me, but they should bring back Homestead as the championship track. I think Phoenix should go back to the round of 8. I don't think it should be either. Dead serious. I do not think that Homestead needs to be the championship track again, period. I think what should happen instead is this. It should every year rotate to a facility that is capable of holding at least 100,000 people and is on either side of the country, meaning Texas is out. Kansas is out. I am sorry. Those parts of the country don't warrant a championship race. You look at big markets. That's where the championship needs to conclude. I personally think that what is going to happen is after 2023, this coming season, NASCAR will give a second date to Auto Club Speedway in its half-mile configuration. Again, speculation on my part. Do not quote me on this. It is not official. It is speculation on my part. I think that NASCAR is going to take the championship race and give it to Auto Club Speedway as the finale, because a half-mile with seating all the way around it, with literally more people in this county than half of the states in the United States, it only makes sense to put your crowning event in one of the largest markets in the world. And since NASCAR doesn't have a track in New York State, not really, it's here in Los Angeles, period. Daytona and Auto Club. I don't know necessarily if it should be Daytona. I think that is a great place to start our season. I still think it needs to be where you end the regular season. That kind of bookends the schedule in my head, honestly. But I do not think it is a place to decide a championship, because I don't think enough driver skill goes into restrictor plate races, because essentially you need to learn how to draft very well and how to manipulate the draft and create enemies among your peer, or create friends and enemies among your peers. I don't think that should merit whoever does that best is the champion, because in my head, that's the person who has the best knowledge of physics and the person who has the most friends. Shouldn't it come down to the driving talent at some point? Yes, driving talent is required for restrictor plate races, but I don't know. So's Auto Club and Vegas and North Wilkesboro and Bristol. I want to see the Bristol night race be the championship finale. Yeah. I think that place just feels like a finale. You know why it does? I blame Cars. I mean, I'm being serious here. I blame the movie Cars. It's partially not really Doc Hudson's fault, but I'm just saying it's Lightning McQueen's fault, because you look at the opening scene of Cars. That is what kids associate NASCAR with. The glitz and the glamour, the stadium lights, racing in a stadium. This is the future that NASCAR is going to, honestly. I don't think that the LA Coliseum needs to necessarily be on every single in every single football stadium and everything. I think that a nice half mile here and there, like what we're seeing with Auto Club Speedway, is where we need to be. This is coming from a guy who works at Orange Show Speedway, a quarter-mile flat stadium short track in San Bernardino, California. OrangeShowSpeedway.org if you want to check out our 2023 dates that we have coming up. More dates are going to be announced here in the next coming weeks. Trust me. I kind of know media. I do media stuff over there. I know these things, so bit of breaking news here on the channel. But I sincerely think that we need more of those type of atmospheres, because the stadiums, the closed atmosphere, keeping all that energy packed in, is like anything you've ever been to. Honestly, at the LA Coliseum in 2021, I truly felt this is NASCAR. Because the atmosphere, the electricity in the air, is something similar to that I have felt at big name marquee events, but I have also felt it in small enclosed areas like stadium events. That having that many people together, that crowd on top of each other, like at the LA Coliseum, like at Bristol, That's what NASCAR needs to duplicate and have more of. I'm being serious when I say this. Maybe a 3/4 mile, something like that. Maybe we get past the half mile and do a little bit bigger and a little bit smaller. I'm just saying, like a 1/3 mile track actually might be cool. It's a little tiny, but it might be cool. Vlogs and gaming with Tommy. I'm gonna get your name right at some point, bud. LA is going to be like last year. I'm predicting that because I'm going to be there and I watched the race last year. Vlogs with gaming and Tommy, we got to meet up at some point, bud. We got to do like a little fan zone meetup Sunday before the race at some point, like a Twitter meetup. I know Gluck's going to do one, but I'm not Gluck, you know? So we got to do something at some point. Maybe I'll go to the Jeff Gluck one and be there with them, I guess. I don't know. I got to actually do that this year because I'm going to be there. I'm actually going to try to get there early enough to be part of the Twitter meetup. But yes, I'm also going to the LA Clash this year. And I'm going to be there both days, Saturday and Sunday. Saturday for all the, heat race stuff and all the fun stuff. And then obviously Sunday for the big race. And we're working with NASCAR to try to do some version of this show. Still working on Auto Club Speedway to do the same thing. Maybe a couple of other tracks sometime at some point this season. We're going to kind of have to wait and see on that. But I'm very much looking forward to that race. I think I'm more excited for that race than I was the championship race. Dead serious. And I'm probably going to the championship race sometime this year. Gotta wait and see. So I'm pretty excited about that. I did want to get to one thing before we get out of here. I got a chance to actually talk with Kyle Larson about the Indy 500. Specifically, I asked him about the 2023 Indy 500. And you remember this video? I put it up on Shifting Gears here on the channel a few weeks back, right before the holiday season. I asked him specifically about the Indy 500, and this was his response. Reports a few months back, actually, that you had permission, don't know if this is true, to maybe go race the Indy 500. Have you had those conversations with Rick Hendrick?
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to Rick about it and Jeff Gordon for over a year. So, yeah, I mean, they gave me the blessing to do it. I just don't know if it's going to work out this coming year. I think this is stuff that you have to work towards, well in advance. And May will come fast, and I don't want to just drive in the Indy 500. I want to be prepared, be ready for it, and feel like I can go start and feel confident that I can go win the Indy 500. So I want to be prepared and do as much testing and practicing as I can. So I don't know if it'll happen this year, and I honestly I kind of would like to delay it to 2024 if it did happen then.
Again, that's Kyle Larson from, I believe it was December 15th, 2022, the exact date, but it was December 2022, talking about his potential run at the Indy 500. I mean, he nixed 2023 right there, and I got the sense that he was about ready to announce that he was racing in 2024, the Indy 500, doing the double, and he announced it this week. So good for him, honestly. I think he's going to be honestly great at it. As long as he has enough practice time to really shake down the car, shake down both cars, I should say, and as long as mechanically both hold up, it should be a pretty good run for him. I think Tony Stewart definitely is going to have the benchmark for a while, but as far as the Indy Coke double, but Larson has a really strong potential to make it work, and I think that they're kind of determined to do it. So I'm pretty excited about that. We were talking about the Busch Light Clash at the LA Coliseum that's coming on Sunday, February 5th. We just found out this week Wiz Khalifa is going to be the halftime show, half race show during the race break. Phenomenal. Amazing. Honestly, I think that this is a slam dunk win for NASCAR. I really do, because this is one of the hottest performers on the planet right now, period. And I don't care if you're into Wiz Khalifa or not. I really don't. It doesn't matter. Because you know why? If you're a true hardcore, diehard NASCAR fan, no matter what, you're going to the LA Clash. You're going to watch the LA Clash. You know what NASCAR is trying to do? Bring in other fans. And the fact that and this is 100% real. You can go on laclash.com right now to get your tickets, or nascar.com/tickets to get your tickets to the LA Clash. But when it happens on Sunday, February 5th, if you are a student, a college or a high school student, you can get into the LA Clash for $40. $40. Yeah, a Wiz Khalifa concert in the pit front row for $40. That's what you're buying. That's a really good, at any venue on the planet, that's an amazing ticket. For LA, I don't think you can spend $40 on parking for a Wiz Khalifa ticket anywhere in Los Angeles County for under $50. I mean, you can't. Parking in Los Angeles is a nightmare. It's always been a nightmare. It's unfortunately probably always going to be a nightmare. And because of that, $40, $40. I'm being serious. I'm thinking about going to a community college, enrolling in $300 worth of units so I can get that little student ID and be a student so I can get a $40 ticket to a Wiz Khalifa concert that also happens to have other performers playing, a live DJ, and a NASCAR race going on behind me. Yeah, that's a pretty good deal. I'd get in on that 100% if I could. And I'm actually kind of glad I'm not. I'm going to be in the media booth. I'm spoiled. I'm spoiled when it comes to watching races, okay? I require food and a bathroom close. My attention span is like -2, and it's normally all spent on the race. So the other piece of news that we got this week, at least a report from Jordan Bianchi and The Athletic, that action sports star Travis Pastrana is expected to enter the 2023 Daytona 500 with 2311 Racing and a third Toyota for the team. Nothing has been announced. They did release a teaser showing potentially a third driver and insinuating that there was going to be a third driver or car. Everybody kind of thought it's going to be Kurt Busch because Kurt Busch is still recovering. We're hoping that we see him in a third 2311 Toyota at some point in 2023, running a couple races here and there. But honestly, we hope he gets better before he does that. I don't think anybody saw Travis Pastrana coming out of his NASCAR retirement, quote unquote, for the Daytona 500. That is nuts to me. I did not see that coming. If I'm being blunt, I kind of hope he runs a Ken Block paint scheme. I don't think he will, but that would be ridiculously cool. Like, I might cry. That would be amazing if he were to do that. Also, the Dakar Rally wrapped up over the weekend. Kevin, I'm going to butcher your last name, Benavides, got the win in bikes, and Nazar Alat won his 5th Dakar title. Like, that is pretty darn cool. The full story's up on AmericanRacingNetwork.com. But it's pretty cool to see the Red Bull KTM in victory lane again. That's pretty cool. I think Bubba will be great from 2023 to 2033. So he's going to have a 10 good year run, according to Vlogs and Gaming with Tommy. Honestly, yeah, you look at Bubba, he had, at least statistically, the best year he's ever had last year on paper. And I don't think drivers are going to get worse, especially when they're as young as Bubba is. He still has at least another, as you said, 10, 15 years ahead of him. And I honestly hope that he continues to show that he's going to defy expectations and go out there and win multiple races next year, potentially. It really wouldn't surprise me if we saw Bubba Wallace win the Daytona 500, compete for the win at Talladega, and then win another couple races here or there. Honestly, as long as the guy has a good race and the crew doesn't screw him, he's going to be fine. And 2311 announced that they are moving to their own pit crew. They were getting crew members from Joe Gibbs Racing, literally the leftovers from Joe Gibbs Racing down to 2311. I'm just saying that's kind of messed up. And Denny Hamlin said, we're hiring our own guys next year. And since Michael Jordan is the owner with Denny Hamlin, something tells me they were paying a little bit more than Joe Gibbs Racing, who were looking for sponsors. And something tells me 2311 is going to have the best pit crew in all of the NASCAR Cup Series garage in 2023. So I'm just saying, keep an eye on the 23 and the 45 this year. You got Tyler Reddick going over there too, and you have Kurt Busch on the bench who's giving everybody advice and input, who's a driver who's watching the competition, translating that to the drivers. Are you kidding me? This is a super team. You need to treat 2311 in 2023 with the same level of respect that you give to Hendrick Motorsports, that you give to Penske Racing, that you gave to Joe Gibbs Racing. Because 2023 just became the powerhouse at Toyota, and Joe Gibbs Racing, although they have more cars, double the cars, they just became a lot smaller in Toyota's eyes because you lost a superstar in a big way. You gained a rookie who is unproven, but clearly unstable, still needs time to develop his skill and his respect and his knowledge, so he'll need a little time to gel. You have a veteran who's on his way out. You have another veteran who is looking for sponsorship for 2024 and more than likely won't have it, and in more than likelihood will leave Joe Gibbs Racing at the end of 2023 and head to his own team. Yeah, Denny Hamlin to 2311 Racing in the 11, hopefully, sometime in 2024. Mark my words, that'll happen. I'm just saying, makes sense. And if you're unfamiliar, it came out that FedEx, the company that sponsors primarily Denny Hamlin, is looking to cut their yearly budget by, I believe it was about $500 million. Well, if you have to somehow find $500 million, you know what you probably don't have upwards of $100 million for? That NASCAR program. I'm just saying, I don't think that Denny Hamlin's happy with the direction of Joe Gibbs Racing right now. If I were ever to see a situation where he were to leave that company, it's happening in slow motion in front of us, friends. We just have to notice it. And I personally kind of noticed. So I don't think Denny Hamlin's going to be with Joe Gibbs Racing after this season. I'm just saying, in all likelihood, I don't think Martin Truex Jr. is going to be with Joe Gibbs Racing next year. And I predict by 2024, they're going to be a two-car organization. I mean, seriously, because your money comes from Toyota. And I think this year is the year that 2311 shifts the power within Toyota over to 2311 because they have everything working for them this season. They've got the best pit crew on pit road there. They've got one of the best drivers in the Cup Series racing for them with Tyler Reddick. You have another really good driver with Bubba Wallace. You have the resources of this organization finally going into doing something amazing. Vlogs with Gaming and Tommy, like Blaney and Elliott. I am assuming you're referring to next year. Yeah, what's going on with the chat? I just noticed the chat's not responding as well as it could. Oh boy, what's going on with our chat, y'all? I don't know what's going on. It's being very odd. Okay. And it's just zeroed out altogether. That's weird. I apologize for the chat issues tonight. I can still see them on my screen. They're just not showing up right there next to me, unfortunately. So I feel like that's a sign. So I did want to give one more update, actually. Yeah, one more update real quick. Ashton Torgerson, who is the driver who was in that horrendous Chili Bowl crash. If you didn't see this, do not go look it up. I deeply regret that I saw the video. Like, I'm not even trying to be funny or polite here. I'm just saying, one's body shouldn't move that way. That's what I will say. But he was hospitalized Wednesday night with bleeding in his brain after essentially the car landed on his skull. I'm not exaggerating or joking. He was barrel rolling, and at one point, his seat and him both come loose from the car, and he is simply ragdolling it in this roll cage as it literally tumbles, and it tumbled on his skull. And my God, how he's alive is beyond me. How he doesn't have serious brain damage is even beyond me. I I'm blown away. I am blown away. He's a little sore. That's all he's saying. In 2 weeks, he is scheduled to see a neurosurgeon at the Mayo Clinic. And let me tell you, I'm a big fan of the Mayo Clinic. They saved my wife's life about 4 times in 2 weeks and did her liver and kidney transplant. So big fans of the Mayo Clinic. Let me tell you, this kid's in good hands, and I'm very glad that he's going to go see them. I'm not kidding. I eagerly await to see what those results are in 2 weeks. We're probably not going to know, but I really hope Ashton is okay. I really do. I don't know if he is. He was cleared to leave the hospital, and he left the hospital under his own powers, so clearly he was stable enough to go home. But he is sore, and at the very least, he's concussed. We don't know his full medical history. He is a minor, and there is patient doctor confidentiality laws, so we're not going to hear anything unless it comes from the Torgersons sometime within the next 2 or 3 weeks here. But my goodness, the fact that this kid honestly was able to just walk away, but just survive this. And what's even crazier is you look at him, which we're going to put a video up here of him because this is him being interviewed by Flow TV. The kid obviously took a very hard hit, but my gosh, I mean, and this is from Flow Racing's Twitter, by the way. My gosh, how is this kid not dead? This 15-year-old should not be alive by all accounts, but somehow, by the grace of God, he was. His seat came loose, and he was thrown from the vehicle, and the vehicle landed on him, and he looks like that. How he's not decapitated is literally a miracle of God, and we should be thanking God for every single minute of that, because that wreck was horrendous. I'm not joking. I'm not exaggerating. It was one of the most disgusting wrecks I've seen in my life. Do not go look it up. It's nowhere. Nobody has posted it. Just some bootlegs off cell phones, and you don't want to see those. It's disturbing on so many levels, especially if you're an actual race fan. I'm sure some sicko will go watch this and laugh at it, but don't, because this kid is only 15. I just... 2 major sports injuries, Damar Hamlin and him. Yeah. I mean, and Damar is another situation altogether. So is this kid's, by the way. Damar Hamlin doesn't make enough to actually get health care. Damar Hamlin. NFL's Damar Hamlin. So all of his hospital bills are out of his pocket because he made less than $500,000 last year, reportedly. Meaning that he himself will have to pay for what will assuredly be a lifetime of medical bills. How much money did the NFL make last year? Yeah, it's in the billions. You can't pay for somebody's health care for life? These guys are your warriors. Stop literally treating them like slaves and pay them what they're worth and take care of all the expenses of the injuries they can incur for your entertainment so that they can take care of themselves and their families for the rest of their lives. You owe them the very least for ruining their health. Just saying. But thank God that this kid is all right. Thank God that he is okay. Ashton Torgerson, he's only 15. He's got Rowdy Energy as a sponsor. I'm sure he'll have a very brilliant career in racing if he chooses that. He's only been racing for a little over a year from what I understand. But, I mean, nothing appeared to be wrong with his safety gear, according to his father. You don't think his father is going to double, triple check the safety gear in the car? Y'all, I checked my niece's seatbelt like twice before I even pull out of the driveway. Yeah, he checked the safety gear. So the gear somehow failed, which means either every safety gear by that manufacturer could potentially be compromised, or the fact that something was insecure somehow needs to be fully investigated. And the fact that the Chili Bowl officials decided, no, we're going to go ahead and continue this race after this kid was thrown from the vehicle like that is disgusting. It is disturbing. They should have stopped it right there and done a full investigation. Consequences be damned. Because do you really want to risk another one of your drivers being thrown from their vehicle and crushed to death on streaming live? No. Sports injuries are at an all-time high. I absolutely agree, vlogs with gaming and Tommy, because things have gotten worse, and they continue to get worse because we haven't put enough into our own healthcare. Look at the healthcare system in this country as a whole. That's literally a whole nother topic that wouldn't be covered on this show. But frankly, it's a massive issue. And my chat is completely gone at this point, and I'm not sure why. Okay, that seems to be working now. We'll see if it does. All right. Hopefully that'll work on screen now. Sorry for the delay in that issue. I would love to see something be done, but I think we're at a point where that's not necessarily going to happen, unfortunately. Unfortunately, new rules are often written in blood and not in ink. It's so bad. But I do want to thank you all for watching it. If you're watching this after Sunday night, then you're watching the replay. So you can join us live every Sunday night at 6 p.m. Pacific. That is 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on youtube.com/Alan Bailey. You can also help support the channel for free by hitting the subscribe button, liking this video, and sharing it on your social media accounts. It means so much, so thank you so darn much. You can also follow our brand new second channel on YouTube, Alan Battles. Link will be in the description below. You can also follow me on social media at HeyAlanBailey. And of course, log on to AmericanRacingNetwork.com for the latest motorsports news. ARN, the Motorsports Authority. On Sunday, January 15th, 2023. I want to thank you so much for watching Shifting Gears Live. I'm Alan Bailey. We'll see ya at the track. Bye, Gearheads.